Now available in paperback and e-readers, Spellbound, A Darker Shade of Black. Get your copy today at your favorite online bookseller. Recently, rapper Quavo decided to go meet with Vice President Kamala Harris at the White House to speak and advocate against gun violence.
We are back with rap star Quavo putting his grief into action. The co-founder of Migos was on Capitol Hill advocating for gun safety nearly 1 year after his nephew and bandmate Takeoff was shot and killed. Senior congressional correspondent Rachel Scott is back with the story. Good morning, Rachel.
Hey, George, good morning. Well, this was a murder that shocked the music world. Takeoff was the youngest member of Migos, one of the hottest acts in hip-hop. Police say he was an innocent bystander when he was shot and killed, and now his uncle and band member Quavo is trying to turn that tragedy into action.
Walk it like I talk it. Walk it like I talk it.
This morning, hip-hop superstar and rapper Quavo finding purpose through pain on a mission to tackle gun violence.
And I know a lot of people out there that lost their loved ones to gun violence, and I think ain't nothing getting done about it.
The Grammy-nominated artist from the rap trio Migos taking to the steps of Capitol Hill and traveling to the White House, opening up exclusively to ABC News almost 1 year after his nephew and bandmate Takeoff was shot and killed. Quavo witnessed the tragedy unfold.
I'm a survivor. I was there, so at the same time, it could have been both of us gone. So I look at this as me being alive. I have to do this job and make sure everybody aware that losing my nephew, you could be in the same position.
His family launching the Rocket Foundation in honor of Takeoff, pledging $2 million toward gun violence prevention, and now putting the pressure on lawmakers to act.
I think all of us together is the key, and we need help from this big old building right here.
While working to keep Takeoff's legacy alive.
What do you think Takeoff would think about the work that you're doing now?
He'll most definitely be proud of me. And I just know he ain't gonna never leave my side, so it's a tough thing knowing that we separated and knowing I'm not gonna see him again on this earth, but it's cool. And I know he's proud of me.
Quavo's foundation is already working to try to create community-based solutions to prevent gun violence, but he told me he knows he needs political backing in order to create more change. Democrats and Republicans have been divided over how to address this issue for decades.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.
Now, Quavo is a member of the rap group the Migos, and his nephew Takeoff wound up losing his life back in 2022 when he was shot during a party at a bowling alley where he was standing and watching a dice game, which escalated into an argument, and one of these individuals at that dice game decided to take out a weapon and shoot someone who was their target, but missed and wound up hitting Takeoff, who wound up losing his life when he was shot in the head. Now, this whole meeting between Quavo and the vice president would look like on the surface something that is serious about trying to advocate for gun violence, but in actuality it's a photo op designed in order to get people's attention and make them believe that the Blue Party has any sort of care or concern for black people. Now, this entire meeting between Quavo and Kamala Harris, it would look very serious on the surface. However, when you take a critical look at this whole meeting, it's all part of a larger plan in order to try to trick black people into trying to believe that that the Blue Party has their best interest after Joe Biden actively alienated all black people back in December of 2020. Now, in December of 2020, after Joe Biden had become the president-elect and won the election with the support of all of those black people who took their booties to the polls, what happened was Joe Biden decided to sit down with all the black leaders of the black community and many of these activists who say that they represent the black community, and he told them all he was going to do nothing for black people. who went out here and took their booties to the poll to preserve Joe Biden's democracy. And after Joe Biden basically threw a middle finger up at the foundational Black American Black community, Joe Biden basically thought that he could go out here and form this coalition with Hispanics and Asians and other minorities. However, that coalition really has not had the voting power that the black vote had that put him in office back in 2020. And over the last 3 years, Joe Biden has watched as support for black voters has basically eroded, and many black people are going out here and actively staying home like they did in 2022 during the midterms, and many black people have an unfavorable view of Joe Biden and the Blue Party. And as right now, an ABC News poll has stated that Joe Biden's approval rating is at 37% and nationally, and his approval rating has dropped precipitously among black people, especially among heterosexual black men. And because Joe Biden basically knows that his approval rating and the approval rating of the Blue Party is dropping lower than Enron stock, what he's looking to do is go out here and find himself some bootlicks and shills in order to get them to go out here and sell the soap. And the way they sell the soap is going out here and finding popular entertainers with millennials and Gen Z and use them to go out here and push the idea that the Blue Party basically cares about them. And that's what this empty symbolic meeting between Quavo and Kamala Harris is all about, trying to make it look like the Blue Party truly cares about black people, when in actuality they already know they've basically alienated black people, and only the dumbest and stupidest people, like many of the old boomers, are out here looking to advocate for a party that has done absolutely nothing for them. Now, this whole issue of gun violence is one that is a major issue in the black community, but this whole meeting between Quavo and Kamala Harris will do nothing for black people except provide a photo op that will go out here and make it look like the Blue Party cares about black people, who in some cases don't have a long attention span and don't have a good long-term memory to remember how Joe Biden basically disrespected them way back in December of 2020 when they gave him not only the presidency, but gave him a Congress which with a full majority to go out here and pass any agenda. And instead of rewarding black people, he expressed his contempt for them, and then went out here and expressed further contempt for black people by going out here and passing an anti-Asian hate crime law, and then going out here and then passing up black people and going out here and advocating for Afghans who he basically had abandoned their country and allowed Afghans to jump in line ahead of black people, then went out here and allowed Ukrainians to jump in front of black people, and then also went out here and now is allowing migrants from across the globe to jump in front of the foundational black Americans who went out here in large numbers in order to get him elected. And now what they want to do is go out here and use all of these entertainers as a way to try to make it look like they care, when in actuality they don't care at all. And this whole meeting is not about stopping gun violence. No, it's all about trying to make it look like the Blue Party is one that has the interest of black people at heart as related to these images. But when we look at the actions, they show how little respect they have for black people, because it's black people's communities that are the ones that are being inundated by migrants, and it's a grand plan to try to replace foundational black Americans that will just completely fail. But the whole thing is they show their contempt for foundational black Americans, and again, they hope to use these celebrities as a way to go out here and try to make it look like they're doing something when they're actually doing nothing. Now, when it comes to most of these celebrities, these are a buffer class of individuals, and what these politicians love to do, as related to the left, is go out here and bring out their bootlicks and their shills and have them go out here and stump for the Blue Party. And there's been a major campaign to go out here and get a lot of these rappers to go out here and sell the soap for the Blue Party, such as Snoop Dogg and many other rappers, to make it look like the Blue Party cares about us. But this is where foundational black Americans cannot fall for the okey doke one mo again. Because what's happening here is the same strategy that was used in 2022 as related to abortion. Get people emotional to the point where they go out here and vote against their own interests and not demand tangibles in exchange for their vote. No, get them caught up in their emotions where they go out here and vote based on their feelings about a candidate without ever hearing how they're going to give them tangibles as related to a black agenda. And we've got to stop doing that when it comes to our own politics, because with the subtle politics transpiring around us, basically Joe Biden is expressing his contempt for black people by going out here and having these entertainers go and do these photo ops. These photo ops mean absolutely nothing as related to black people getting tangibles at all, because most of these entertainers like Quavo are bought and paid for bootlicks, bought and paid for shills, and again, they are a buffer class meant to prevent you from getting tangibles and prevent you from getting access to the government that you pay taxes for in order to get tangibles in exchange for your vote. So what they want to do is get you emotional about how Takeoff wound up losing his life and start getting you emotional about stopping gun violence as related to so-called gun control laws that basically have failed everywhere because most criminals do not follow the law as related to guns, and in actuality, a gun control law does not stop the kinds of criminals that Quavo and the Migos were involved with, because the criminals that the Migos were involved with when they were going to that birthday party, these were the type of individuals who are out here participating in the shady business, and these are the people out here doing the dirt in the community. So it proves basically that this was never a gun issue. No, this was always a people issue, and I talk about this in depth in my book, The Man Crisis, where I talk about how most of these murders are usually done by beta males, and the beta males, when they go out here, it's the reason why they participate in gun violence is due to the dysfunctional way they have been raised over the last 60 years in single mother households, and due to the dysfunctional way they have been raised in single mother households. This is the reason why they go out here and act impulsively, like the individual who took the life of Takeoff. This individual, basically, because they were never raised with any sort of critical thinking skills, any ability to use logic and reason, or any ability to go out here and conflict resolve, what they do is they act on their feelings impulsively and get upset over something like a dice game, which these guys should have been participating in. Moreover, when it came down to Takeoff and Quavo and the Migos, they should, with them being worth over, I believe, $28 or $25 million or $60 million, these guys should have never been at that spot. No, what they wanted to do was go out here and get some street cred with some Houston dope dealer or some guy, and what they wanted to do was get that street cred, and this was the covert contract that sadly led to the death of Takeoff. Was they wanted to go out here and get that street cred and that clout in order to continue selling music that promotes and perpetuates crime to black people. But what they want to do is make it look like, oh, we're so serious about gun violence, when nobody has clean hands as related to this entire situation. No, the Blue Party is being extremely disingenuous when they talk about how they're going to have this rapper advocate against gun violence when many of these rappers were always talking about gun violence in most of their lyrics and promoting gun violence in most of the media they promote out here for black children. And again, that is what makes them dishonest and hypocritical. So they're sitting there talking about, meeting with the vice president, a vice president who basically has the lowest approval rating of all of the individuals in Washington right now, a vice president most people don't take seriously, and a vice president who cannot effectively do anything about anything at all because she's as dysfunctional as Joe Biden. So this whole meeting, if you really take a critical look at it, is again one big scam. But you'll have a lot of spellbound black folks, especially a lot of baby boomers, sit there and say, it looks like they're doing something about gun violence, when in actuality they're doing absolutely nothing at all, except putting on a dog and pony show that gets you in your feelings and gets you in your feelings to vote blue no matter who, even though Joe Biden said, screw you, back in 2020. And instead of you thinking about how you're disrespected, what many spellbound black folks will do is try to fit into go and create a covert contract to fit into the black box that's acceptable to white people, instead of staying their asses home and letting them know that they need to give tangibles in exchange for a vote, and especially if there's the way you've been disrespected. Again, black people sitting there thinking, I'm going to take my booty to the poll and they'll accept me. No, they've disrespected you, because when a president sits there and tells your so-called leaders to your face that he's not going to do anything for you at all, and to go look for the Hispanic community, then goes out here and allows Afghans, migrants, and Ukrainians to jump in front of you when you went to the polls first as an American citizen. You need to think twice about these celebrities who they're throwing up here, because their whole goal is to get a bunch of these celebrity bootlicking clowns who again have sold out the black community to sit there and talk about political issues, when we need to be going out here and creating our own agenda. We need to go out here and create our own agenda and also make our demands, because if they want our vote, then they need to give us tangibles. They need to give us tangibles like an anti-black hate crime bill, because black people are the ones targeted by hate crimes more than any other group. Moreover, there needs to be a check cut for reparations for the racism that created slavery, the racism and the oppression of Jim Crow, which undermined the black economy, and the current and ongoing discrimination that keeps many black men like myself out of the job market. And there also needs to be a tangible as related to actual police reform and police accountability. We need actual tangibles as related to policy. And again, you don't get that with white celebrities who get their bread and butter from the system of the media arm of white supremacy. No, you cannot have these people advocating for you, because the only difference between Quavo and Ice Cube is that one wears a red hat and the other one wears a blue hat, but they're both bootlicks all the same, and they're both bootlicks looking to sell the soap for the system of white supremacy. And both of these bootlicks, again, are the ones who want to be a part of a buffer class who keep you from getting tangibles and get you so caught up in your feelings about their celebrity that you don't think critically about how they are getting in your way. Because again, how can you sit there and be talking about all of this street stuff and be a part of that street culture and then say, I'm against gun violence, when you're out here supporting the individuals who participate in most of the gun violence? Again, actions are speaking louder than words. And when it comes to this whole guy Quavo, again, I see him no different than Ice Cube. Again, another bootlick and shill they want to get up in front of you. Another bootlick and shill, what they want to do is have him talking to Kamala Harris, again, someone who was out here advocating to go out here and put black people in prison, went out here and persecuted black people in San Francisco when she was a district attorney, went out here and persecuted black people when she was an attorney general, and you're expecting her to advocate for, go out here and participate in gun controls laws that will be fair to black people. If you believe that I've got a bridge in Brooklyn I want to sell you, and if you believe that this woman is going to go out here and create tangible laws that will benefit you based on her track record from a meeting with a entertainer who was a part of the media arm of white supremacy, then clearly you're not really living in reality, and this whole meeting is again one that does not benefit black people. No, it doesn't benefit us at all, and we really need to start looking at these whole meetings between these celebrities, because celebrities should not be the ones advocating for our tangibles. No, we are the ones who need to advocate for our tangibles. We are the ones who need to create our agenda. We are the ones who are supposed to be picking our candidates. We are the ones who are supposed to be the ones running everything. And these celebrities, they can go out here and get their bread and butter from the media arm of white supremacy, but they will not be the ones who go out here and dictate policy as related to our tangibles. That's what we need to understand as related to these guys like Quavo. Again, Quavo is a bought and paid for shill, and what they want to do is, again, I'll repeat it once more, get you in your emotions and get you in your emotions to the point where you think that they care. But Kamala Harris has never cared about black people. Joe Biden doesn't care about black people. They have expressed their contempt for black people, and now that black people are responding by walking away from Joe Biden, what he wants to do is try to go out here like the old slave master, run back and try to tie an emotional hose to black people to keep us in a codependent relationship where we keep chasing him like a mule, like a carrot, and we have to stop chasing him and his whole quest for white validation, because this quest for white acceptance, this quest for white social acceptance is not going to get us empowered as black people. No, what's going to get us empowered as black people is creating an interdependent relationship between ourselves and our government, where it becomes transactional, and they provide the tangibles and we provide the votes, and we get paid back our tax dollars that are taken to other communities to enrich them with part of that $3.3 trillion in spending power and tax dollars. No, we need to get that money back to improve the quality of life for foundational black Americans. And again, that is done by us getting away from the codependent relationship that was created under integration, where we went on this quest for white acceptance, and we start going on a road to black empowerment that is interdependent, where we go out here and demand tangible services for our vote, tangible monies returned to us for our votes, and candidates who go out here and provide us tangibles. Again, Election Day is supposed to be a payday, and it's supposed to pay back black people, and the way we get paid is by looking past the noise of guys like Quavo and go out here and ignore the crap that they're rapping as related to this whole advocacy campaign for gun violence, because the real way we stop gun violence is we go out here and we rebuild the black family, because when you rebuild the black family and you have a father in the home, the boys learn how to go out here and think critically. The boys learn how to conflict resolve. The boys learn how to problem solve. The boys learn how to go out here and act by thinking and not act on their impulses regarding their feelings to go get a gun because they don't know how to use their hands like a man. No, because these boys, the reason why you have all this gun violence, and I know this from growing up in the 80s during the crack epidemic, is because a lot of these cowards basically didn't have the backbone or the stones to stand up like a man. These cowards didn't know how to use their hands, and because these cowards didn't want to lose face in front of other men and didn't want to go out here and be made to look like the punks that they actually were. They go out here and go take out a piece of steel because they don't have the ability to use their hands like a man and go out here and win a fight. And they also don't have the de-escalation skills that men learn as male life skills. So these guys go out here and use guns because they're a bunch of punks and cowards, but because Madison Avenue and Hollywood make it look like these guys are tough guys and badasses in the media, many black boys thought this is how you solve a problem, not understanding that men, when we out here and we have an issue with a man and it escalates to a fight, we go out here, we fight with our hands, we lose the fight, and if we do lose or we win the fight, and afterwards we shake our hands, and if we disagree to disagree, you go your way, I go my way. That is how you conflict resolve. But when you have beta males raised by single mothers, these men don't know about using their own agency or their power. And that's how you get all of this gun violence, because, again, these men don't know anything about being a man. They don't know how to conflict resolve. They don't know how to problem solve, don't know how to critically think, act on their impulses. And as they act on their impulses, they go out here and take the lives of people the way Takeoff lost his life. And Takeoff lost his life because he didn't have a father or a man out here to teach him as a man. If you're out here making this kind of money, you don't need to be in the streets of places like Houston going to some dope dealer's party. Again, if you're an entertainer making millions of dollars with a net worth of millions of dollars, you don't be at no spot where there's a bunch of hoods and goons out here at some dice game watching some CeeLo. No, you're not at that spot. And you're not at that spot because, again, you have a long-term thing as related to your life. You have wealth that you need to protect. But sadly, all of those topics aren't talked about by the Blue Party, who want to go out here and promote the idea of gun violence and think that laws can stop guns. No, laws can't stop people who have not been raised in a functional manner. No, you need to raise people in a functional manner, because if you raise a boy to become a man, he does not go out here and act impulsively like a man in crisis, and he doesn't go out here and act the way those guys did that tossed Takeoff his life, because any man who's a critical thinker is going to say, my money is a net worth of such and such, so I'm not going to be at this spot with this dope dealer and his crew for some birthday party at all. And in the case of those guys who are out here, they're going to say, look, they're going to follow the code that people followed many years ago, and I'm not going to be having no dice game or no hood stuff at my party. Again, this whole meeting between Quavo and Kamala Harris, again, it's all a show, all theater, and we have to start looking at entertainers and be entertained and start getting serious, because the only way you get tangibles is if you demand them, and you can't let buffers like Quavo get in the way of you and your tangibles, because it's more important that they cut the check than we go out here and try to go out here and give these guys any sort of respect. Now, if you want to pick up some of my positive black fiction on the SJS Direct imprint, like the ISIS series, the Esteem series, the John Haynes series, the books of the Spinsterella trilogy, or my black sorority novel, The Thetas, or my vampire novel, Eternal Night, you can find those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them at other online booksellers like Smashwords, the iBookstore, Google Play, and Barnes & Noble. And if you want to see me make more videos about the entertainment industry, you can send a donation to the PayPal, the Patreon, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Now available in paperback and e-readers, The Temptation of John Haynes. Give in to temptation and pick up this action-packed African-American paranormal romance. Get The Temptation of John Haynes in paperback and e-readers today.
Support black-owned and black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.